Hey guys, Jason Hodge here. Day number one of the 30-day video challenge. Actually, I'm very excited about this because it's one of those things that is really going to stretch me. And I'll tell you why. The topic of today is the biggest challenge or disappointment that I've had to overcome. And let me see, I guess we are in September. Yeah, I guess it's almost a year. Almost a year. I'm in month number 12 right now. Uh, the biggest challenge that I had to overcome was last year around this time. I got bit by a spider. And so the bite actually went really wrong, really fast. And during that time, I saw my health decline to the point where within about 2 to 3 months, I was no longer walking. And I basically saw my life slipping away from me. I was watching myself dying and not really knowing what I could do about it because it had gotten so bad and I won't get into the gruesome details of just how bad it got, but it was pretty bad to the point where my wife, who is a nurse of many, many years, was afraid, you know. And it got to the point that when she would leave the house, I would wonder if she was going to come home to a corpse, and she, on the other hand, would wonder if she was going to come home to a corpse also. So during that time, there's a lot of things that happened for me. And I would say for me, and I'm deliberate with those words because I got a lot of benefit out of the whole process. One of the things is that I got a chance to really look in the mirror and come to terms with a lot of issues that I used to carry that I didn't even realize that I was carrying in life. And the way that came about is I realized that every time that I would have a negative thought, a negative emotion, I would have an exacerbation or an eruption or an episode where I would get worse. And that was the first time that I actually saw in my own reality the mind, body, spirit connection. Before I knew it from a theoretical standpoint, I knew it from a place where when I used to consult with people in relation to their health, that I could talk them off of the ledge and say, okay, well, you got to put away that thought or you have to kind of shift things and all that. But I'd never had to actually walk through it myself because I was relatively healthy all of my life. I've been into natural medicine and all of that for the past 30 some odd years. And so anytime that anything would go wrong, I'd grab some herbs and I'd be able to fix it. Whether it was me or a relative or a friend or a stranger, I'd know exactly what to do. This particular time, though, I didn't know what to do. And so what happened was I got to that point where I began to just call out to God and say, you know what? Kind of looks like I'm on my way out here. And I started thinking that, wow, if I check out right now, I would have left behind all of the hopes and the dreams, all of the vision, everything that I've had in life, all of the things that I ever wanted to do, they would have gone undone. And not to mention that I would have left behind a loving wife and 3 loving children and a life that I never wanted for any of them. Never wanted my wife to be a widow and definitely never wanted my children to grow up without a father. I know what that's like. So during that time, I got an opportunity. I was blessed to be able to do a lot of soul searching. And in that time, I realized that there were quite a few areas, actually the majority of my life, where I was not living for my life. I was living for other people's expectation of my life. And the things that I would do would always be contingent upon what I thought somebody else felt about it, how I thought that it could impact them or not impact them, everybody else's conveniences. And I realized during this time that, well, if I get out of this, if I come through this, I could either A, choose to go back to that way of doing things, that way of thinking, and putting all of the things that were in me on the back burner, or I can commit to actually pursuing them. And so that's what I did. I committed to pursuing the things that were in me, my dreams, my visions, my goals, my aspirations, and the discovery of those things. Sometimes when you get so out of sync with yourself, you forget what it's like to dream. You forget that you even had an objective in life, a goal or a vision. You forget a lot of things, and you have to reacquaint yourself to those things. At least I know I did. I had to go back and start thinking, okay, well, geez, you know what? I've been given an opportunity here. What exactly am I going to do with that opportunity? What exactly does this mean? I mean, yeah, I know I prayed for life. I prayed to stick around, but when all is said and done, when I boil it down, what am I sticking around to do? Who am I? Well, all of that said, I started regaining my health. This is probably month number 2 or 3. When I took a trip to Chicago. I went to an event. It was a great event, life-changing event. And when I came back, I was still pretty sick. And a matter of fact, in Chicago, it's kind of funny because where I was supposed to be networking and mingling and kind of hanging out with everybody, I just had enough energy to go to the conferences and then to get back to the hotel, get to bed, get something to eat, take supplements and all of that, and then try and redo it again the next day. And so I did that until the event was finished. And so then when I came back to my home, there were a lot of things that changed in me. A lot of shifts that had taken place, a lot of things that I was able to let go, and other things that I was able to start coming to terms with, to start resolving. It was not one of those quick fixes, like everything all of a sudden was like, wow, everything is perfect. But what it did do is it started the process because I started really taking a deeper look at myself, void of what I thought everybody else wanted me to look at. For the first time, I got very selfish and learned not to have a problem with that, but learned to embrace that and understand that it is important that I pursued my purpose, even finding out what that was, what that is. So now here it is, I'm 3 months into the whole recovery after this, almost year-long bout. And, I'm seeing quite a few things in life that I still need to fix and come to terms with, still need to overcome. And the thing that's refreshing is that now I know what it is. I know how to look the things in the eye or in the face and say, okay, I see that now, and now it's time for me to deal with that, to release it, to move on from it. And what I found that it has done, it has made me a lot more positive in life. Before I would say that my positivity had more of a pseudo-positivity because I didn't really understand what it is to have the loss, or to be so close to that edge, to that cliff. And it's kind of funny because until you come to a situation where you actually can fall over that cliff, at least for me, I didn't realize just how insignificant the other things that used to bother me, used to take up mental space for me, was. And so now, there's a lot of things that really just don't bother me. one of those things is I really don't care a whole lot about what people think about what it is that I'm doing, so long as what I'm doing is on target with what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. That main purpose that I've been seeking for a moment. I realized that how I overcame it and am still overcoming it, because things pop up and I'm like, oh, okay, let me check that, let me work on that. Is that I realize that my purpose here is really to help people. That as far back as I can look in my life, that has always been the capacity in which I engage with folks. It has been helping in some way, shape, or form, whether it is talking to people to help them, realize, to draw out from them what is in them to be done, what their purpose is, or to encourage, to ask those questions that may be tough questions, but questions that need to be asked in a way that can help a person come to terms with what it is that they're dealing with. I had to turn that mirror on myself and say, okay, now Jason, you sit down in the chair and you spill out and listen. Understand what it is that you're going through, why you're going through it. Because every time that we deal with things in life, just as people, there's a reason why. And so it comes a point in time where we have to be courageous enough to look at that reason and then to deal with the reason, to deal with the truth of the matter. And so I had to deal with a lot of internal truths that I didn't recognize, didn't realize that I had to deal with before. So anyway, so how I overcame it is by committing to looking at the good things and the bad things, the pretty and the ugly, that are inside of me, and to move forward in spite of them, to continue to stretch forward despite my shortcomings, despite my failures, despite all of the missteps that I've had in life, and despite, all of the things in the past, not to continue to drag the corpse into my present and my future. I had to learn not to quantify myself by the things that I messed up in. So I'm hoping that that answers that question. And I'm hoping that even beyond that, that whoever's listening to this right now, that it can help you bridge some of the gaps that you may find that you have yourself, to get you from point A, or point F for failure into, point D for destiny, for P for purpose, so that you can say, you know what, okay, I don't have to live in my past. I can live in my present, and I can reach for my future, and that future is that objective, that target, your purpose, your destiny in life. That's Jason. That's the real me, guys. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.